Welcome to another inventRight.com TV show. My name is Andrew Krause. I'm inventRight co-founder. We have Mr. Stephen Key, the other co-founder of our business. Stephen, what's the topic today for the show?
Well, we're going to talk about industries that are difficult to license an idea to. Not impossible, but difficult.
Okay, sounds good.
And
this is a two-part series. The other part of the series is going to be industries where they're a little bit easier. Just
really easy. We're going to
really
talk about
easy.
those industries that you can knock it dead without any effort at all. There you go.
Oh, come on. Not any effort at all. Doesn't sound like us. But you smile when you say it, so that's good.
All
right, so let's start with some industries that are difficult to license in.
Okay, first of all, I want to paint a big picture of why these industries are a little bit difficult to license an idea to.
Okay,
so first of all, some of these industries require patents. And you know how I love patents, right? But some of them do. And not only one, sometimes they require multiple patents. So you need a wall. Okay, so just realize that gets expensive. Okay, doesn't mean it's impossible, but it takes a little bit more money. Okay, number two, it takes a long time. It takes longer than some of these other industries. Know why? Because sometimes you're going to scale up. And to scale up to where it goes all around the country or all around the world takes more time. Okay?
So some industries, just the
some
timeline
are really
getting
fast,
up.
and we're going to talk about the fast ones, but
yeah.
If in these difficult industries, it requires intellectual property, patents, sometimes trademarks, copyrights, but more intellectual property ownership. Number two, it takes more time. So if you're in a hurry, this isn't right for you.
Got it.
Number three, some of these industries require you to have prior knowledge on manufacturing processes.
Which for a lot of ideas, most ideas actually, I'll say that, you don't. But in these difficult industries, you do. Quite often.
It's very simple. Because you know what we're talking about? These difficult industries are really big industries.
Mega corporations.
Mega, and when the money comes in with royalties, it comes in so fast, you'll never count it. These are big industries.
Which makes it harder to close a deal, too, because there's so much money
at
at stake.
It makes all sense. It takes different things. Okay. And some of them even require you to start a business.
Which you don't have to do when you're licensing.
That's
really.
right.
Okay.
So some of them, okay, so the first one we're going to talk about is food recipes. How many times we get people say, hey, I've got this new recipe. We hear it all the time. But the problem is you cannot protect a recipe.
Yeah. Well, you talk about in a minute. There is one way to do it. And also, every grandmother and cook and homemaker, they give these recipes away for free.
I know.
To these companies with these contests and stuff, and it makes it difficult for a professional that's trying to license recipes.
You cannot protect a recipe with intellectual property. You can't file a patent on it. But what you can file a patent on, right, is maybe the process of how it's made of a recipe. You could protect the packaging that it's in. You can protect the trademark, right? These are things you can protect. But realize, you cannot come up with the recipe and file a patent and think you've got protection. So sometimes you have to start a business. Okay, and we've got a couple students that have done this. In fact, one student, Keith Mullins, look up on the screen, you'll see his slide there. He's brought those products to market, but he's had to do a little bit more work.
A little. Well, there's a pretty big difference between the amount of work you need to do to start a food company and just license a product. Massive. Yeah,
but he does stuff. His simple packaging, he's got a very unique. He does his own type of brand. He gets out social media. He starts a little bit of business, gets another company involved, and then he moves on. But what I'm saying is it takes a little bit more work than straight licensing, but you can get there. And that's food. So that's one I wanted to talk about. Also, if you got a recipe, there's one way to protect it too. Have an NDA, have some company sign an NDA, trade secrets, because that's what a recipe is. That is important, and you can protect that with an NDA. Right?
Well, there are a few ways, it's just not easy.
It's not easy.
Again, these industries are industries that are typically
it's not your easy ones. Okay, clothing, apparel, fashion. Come on, you guys. You hear about it all the time. You watch Fashion Week in New York, and within 7 days it's in Walmart. Okay, all right.
Not that company's product, but
No.
the knockoff.
And
right.
they've been complaining about it forever.
Yeah.
And maybe someday there'll be a way to protect it. In fact, they've been talking about it in Congress. Everybody's been trying, but the bottom line is...
You can't patent a garment where the cut's just a little bit different. It doesn't have functionality. A new button, a new zipper that has strong functionality, but you can't just take a purse either and just, I'm going to put a pocket here instead of there. If it doesn't have functionality and utility, which we do see sometimes, Steve.
We see it we do. We do, but it has to have that functionality. So that's a difficult one too. You can protect it, of course, by a trademark, copyright designs. You can do a little thing, but it has to have functionality. The bottom line is it's hard to protect. Okay, so let's go to the next one.
This next one you know well. You've been in packaging for eons.
I've made a fortune in that, but that's besides the point. It's taken me a long time. It's a difficult industry. I've made a lot of money in this industry. It's taken a lot of time, and I'll explain why. Packaging, if you really want to make a lot of money in packaging and realize, think about labels or boxes or closures or caps or bottles. There's hundreds of millions of these things that you're going to sell. You're going to make a lot of money. But the bottom line is you need to understand this industry is slow to change. And there's a reason why. Because most of this industry has big equipment, that's a capital investment, to make the machinery to spit this stuff out. So you can't just come up with some wild idea and think that they're going to be able to run it on their production line.
Yeah.
You need prior knowledge.
So you need to understand the manufacturing process, which for most ideas that inventors come up with, you don't need to begin to understand the manufacturing process most of the time, but in packaging you do.
You really do. So when P&G puts up their Procter & Gamble puts up their looking for new innovation in packaging, I just want to laugh, because for small inventors that aren't in the industry, it's going to be hard.
Brutal.
But if you're in the industry, you can do it. But I'll give everybody a tip. If you want to be in the industry, you want to do it. Number one, find someone that can help you. Number two, find a package or find some innovation that's happening over here, but they haven't done it over here. If they can make it on this package, but you've got another use for it over here, that's the best advice, because then you know it can be made. Which
has been your biggest struggle with the manufacturing of it, always. And then you got to patent whatever manufacturing issues you figured out.
So knowing the process takes knowledge. You can protect it. You need a wall of patents. Not one patent, not two, a wall. Well, my technology.
And that's what you have for your spin label, right?
Yeah, you can see a slide on the spin label. There's over 20 patents now. It's made a lot of money. That's why there's so many patents on one technology. 20 patents on one technology?
And so for those newbies listening in, Stephen, all those patents were after you made the money. You didn't go out and get 20 patents. Okay,
good point.
All right. Because I want to make that clear.
Good point.
Because we're all about the provisional patent.
I didn't pay for any of them.
Right. That's like a whole nother show.
I know, but who can pay for 20 patents? The companies that license it pay for the patents. So this industry, you need to understand the process. So you need to be an insider, or find an idea that they're doing over here and bring it over here. And you need to file one patent, and if it works, you'll be filing multiple patents, and you get the company to file them for you. We teach that all the time. Okay, also, I put in the spin brush just because John Osher had the spin pop, lollipop, took the technology.
Spinning lollipop, yeah.
Put in the spin brush. But
it had a battery in it, and it spun.
But he had to start a business to prove that the industry or consumers would buy a $5 spinning brush when they were used to buying an $80 Oral-B.
What he proved is they bought it in droves, and he licensed that
for $485 million.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys, it's big money. It's big money. Yeah. Okay.
But that's not easy. Again, industries are not easy.
No, it's not easy. It does take a lot of hard work, expertise, and time. We talked about that early on. Okay, software. You guys, software is hard to protect just because of what's happening at the USPTO. There's been a lot of lawsuits on software, Apple suing Microsoft, Samsung. They're fighting like crazy over there. The laws they're trying to change the laws because the bottom line is this. Software is a little abstract, right? So if you're going to file a software patent, make sure you attach it to something physical, like a computer screen, someone touching a keyboard, or using a smartphone, and maybe you can get some protection that way. That's the best advice I can give you. Protection
It isn't always easy to do. Yeah.
You can do it if it's attached to something physical. It's not that easy. It can be done. You guys, it can be done. Sometimes you got to build a prototype. Maybe you show it, maybe you get funding, you build a little company, then you sell it, or then you license. It takes more work. Just realize this, you guys. I like to say it's a wild, wild west out there in Silicon Valley, right? With all the people doing all this stuff. You can protect code with copyright, but it's not enough protection. Here's the other catch, too. A smartphone has 250,000 patents. 250,000 patents. How's that all make sense? Who owns what? It's the wild, wild west. So that's software. Okay. You guys. So let's talk about toys. I like the toy industry. Who doesn't? So does a lot of other people. In fact, there's so many people that like the toy industry. It's pretty crowded. Has been for years. The toy companies have been using freelancers for years. They love us.
Decades.
They love it. In fact, I licensed an idea. We'll show it in just a minute. It's the Michael Jordan wall ball. No protection whatsoever. Paid me for 10 years. Fantastic. Trust those guys. They love us. But the bottom line is, in the toy industry, it's a little crowded. How you win in the toy industry is that you have to stay in it for quite a while to know what's been done in the past.
Which is more difficult.
In order to create for the future, you have to know what's been done in the past. Imagine being at a company like Mattel where they've seen 5,000 new ideas every year for the last 50 years.
They're a little, even in a lot of ways, these toy companies, some of them are open to ideas. They're a little jaded. They feel like they've seen everything, and they probably have.
Think about it. They've seen probably a million ideas.
And they take on just a little tiny, so there's a lot of ideas in the hopper, and you're one of many, many, many ideas, which is not true of pretty much any other industry.
No, that's why I got out. Too much competition. I didn't like it. I didn't like it. There's too many people there. I didn't like it, but I can tell you this.
They are licensable, though.
No, you can license. We have one of our students. We should have put him in the slide. Scott. He licensed tons. He's got 40 SKUs and toys. So he found a way. It's not impossible.
Well, he did what you're talking about. He stays in there and he keeps plugging away.
Stays in there. Yeah. But you have to know what's been done. Also, you guys, they don't care so much about patents either. So it's wild. But the creativity part is scary, guys. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Automotive. Oh, jeez. Really? You're going to deal with those big car companies? Forget it. Difficult. But aftermarket, piggyback on all those things, that deals with automobiles.
Yeah, it's a new air freshener, a cup holder, a hubcap. But if you're expecting to sell it to GM or Volkswagen and have them put it on the car off the line, might as well forget about it. And you didn't put that in there, Steve, but the same goes for the airlines.
Yeah.
Same thing for the airlines. But aftermarket, actually completely, totally the opposite of trying to license OEM directly to
Correct.
a Volkswagen or a GM or somebody.
So you guys, just to wrap it up, these industries, they're not impossible. They're big industries. You can make a ton of money. It's going to take you more time. You might have to file intellectual property. You might have to start it off a little bit. You might even have to start a company. You might have to stay in it for a little bit longer. But the rewards are huge. But you're going to have to spend more time and effort. And that's my point of this class today.
Okay. So the next video we're going to do in the series is industries that are pretty much the opposite of this. Fairly easy to invent in. I hate to use the word the easy, Steve, because that's all.
They're easy! We've got
Okay.
kids licensing ideas. We've got high school kids. We've got parents. We've got everybody. Let's put it this way. It's so doable. We're seeing licensing agreements almost weekly now, right? So it can be done, but it's very different than this industry. So anyway, give us the thumbs up.
down there. Give it the thumbs up if you like the show. And we'll catch up with you guys in the next InventRight.com TV show. Take care, everyone. Keep inventing. Bye-bye.